Good morning, students. I welcome you all in the MSc second year class. So, today we are going to see the topic air pollution. So, as we know that you can see the picture in the slide that first half is how maybe now it is there, and the second half what everyone will like. So this is our priority that we should take care of environment, then only environment take care of us. So we need to study air pollution thoroughly so that how can we take care of this environment we can study in detail. So all of you must be missing from last 3 months this building and this campus. Due to COVID pandemic, you all are at home and can't come to the college and missing all the fun and how one chemistry student can forget the chemistry lab funs and experiments. Yes. So we will hope that this corona uh, pandemic will be soon. India will be free from this COVID pandemic and we all will come to the college. So the content of this chapter is we'll see in this we are going to see air pollution types, sources, atmospheric chemistry, depletion of stratospheric ozone, industrial transport and related pollution, global warming and its effect, acid rain, water pollution, types and sources, physical and chemical water pollutants, wastewater treatment, criteria of water quality, mercury pollution, and estimation of organomercurials. Then effect of air pollutant and water pollutant on living and non-living things. So as all we know that Earth is the only object in the entire universe which can be capable of supporting life. This supporting property of our planet is due to its unique environment. Today, various pollutants affect this environment and consequently life on this planet. So, fight against pollution has become the need of the hour. For betterment of living standards, we need clean air, pure water, nutritious food, clothes, and space. But the quality of air and water getting worse day by day due to population explosion, rapid industrialization, and urbanization. Environmental pollution and human efforts for the betterment of living standard are the two sides of the same coin. So, the necessity to preserve the balanced ecological system is highlighted. So, air is nothing but it is a mixture of gases around the earth. So by volume, dry air contains 78 to 95 percentage of nitrogen, 24.95 percentage of oxygen, 0.93% of argon, and 0.04% of carbon dioxide, and small amount of other gases. Also, air contains a variable amount of water vapor. So pollution. So what is mean by pollution? It is the deliberate or accidental contamination of environment. This pollution word has derived from Latin word pollutonium, means to make dirty. So it can be deliberate or an accidental contamination. So what is the air pollution? So any invisible or visible particle or gas found in air which is not the part of the original or normal air composition is called as a air pollution. So how it happens? So air pollution can be natural or unnatural or man-made. So natural air pollution happens due to the dust storm, forest fire, or pollen grains, and the unnatural air pollution causes due to the excretion of different gases from industries, vehicle exhaust, burning of wood for domestic purpose. So with this pollution, we also need to study the atmospheric chemistry. What is mean by atmospheric chemistry? So atmospheric chemistry is the branch of atmospheric science in which the chemistry of the Earth's atmosphere and that of other planets is studied. It is a multidisciplinary approach of research and draws on the environmental chemistry, physics, meteorology, computer modeling, oceanography, geology, volcanology, and other disciplines. So why we need to study this atmospheric chemistry? As we know, in atmospheric many complex reactions happens. So in that we can see the ozone formation, ozone depletion, then formation of different gases like SO2, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and depletion of ozone layer, formation of chlorofluorocarbons, then the interaction of different gases to form radicals, then they combine and form other gases, then soil dust, aerosol particles. These many things are there in our atmospheric chemistry. So that's why to study these complex reactions, we need to study the atmospheric chemistry. So human activities is changing the composition of the atmosphere day by day. The atmospheric pollutants impact living organisms like health, vegetation, and animals, and also it causes the climate change. The atmospheric pollutant and their subsequent chemistry are responsible for acid rain, photochemical smog, vegetation, animals, and ozone hole formation. So that's why we need to study the atmospheric chemistry in detail. So you'll see the atmosphere, composition of atmosphere. The atmosphere divided into 5 zones with different temperature and pressure profiles. So these 5 zones are troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, and anthrosphere. And this all the spheres are separated by a layer, so that a layer is named on that sphere. So like troposphere and stratosphere is separated by a layer named as a tropopause. The stratosphere and mesosphere separated by a layer called as a stratopause, like that. So we'll see first troposphere. So it is the nearest region to the Earth's surface and extended up to 11 kilometers. Troposphere contains 70% mass of the total atmospheric mass. It is composed of mainly oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, water vapors, and particulate matter. It is the most important zone for the living organism since it contains both O2 and CO2. The temperature of troposphere decreases up to minus 56 degrees Celsius, and the average temperature of troposphere is about 14 degrees Celsius. The temperature in troposphere decreases with increase in altitude. So next is a stratosphere. So stratosphere, this is the region above the tropopause, is known as a stratosphere. So it is extended from 11 kilometers to 50 kilometers, and temperature range from minus 56 to minus 2 degrees Celsius. In this region, the temperature increases with increase in altitude. The increase in the temperature is due to the absorption of ultraviolet rays by ozone, and the concentration of ozone layer in this region is around 1 to 5 ppm. Ozone acts as a protective shield for life on Earth from injurious effects of UV radiations. The next, mesosphere. It is the region above the stratopause, which is extended up to uh, from 52 to 85 kilometer. In this region, the temperature again decreases with increase in altitude. This is because the relatively low level of ozone is present in this region, which can absorb the UV radiations. The O2 plus and NO plus are the important species present in this region. The temperature range is -2 to -92 degrees Celsius. Ionosphere, the next is ionosphere or thermosphere. The thermosphere is the region immediately above the mesopause, which is extended from 85 to 500 kilometers. The temperature range from -90 to 1200 degrees Celsius. In this region, the temperature rises rapidly with increase in altitude. This is the region exhibit the highest temperature, that is the 1200 degrees Celsius, low pressure and low density. The gases present in this region, that is O2 and NO, nitrogen oxide, absorbs the solar radiation in the far ultraviolet region and undergo ionization in this region. O2 plus, O plus, NO plus and electrons exist at significant levels. These charged species persist for a long time without mutual neutralization. That's why this sphere is also called as a ionosphere. Anthrosphere or exosphere. So it contains the human construct, like we see satellites or used to use and do in the environment. So how we can measure the air pollution? So generally the air quality index shows the pollution level. So where the pollutant can cause the health concern or not. So it ranges from 0 to 500 ppm. So we can see in this table that if the air quality index is from 0 to 50, the air quality is a good and no health impacts. If it is a 51 to 100 ppm, it is a moderate and it's also fine. But when it is a 101 to 150 ppm, so far it is unhealthy for sensitive group of people. So it may cause some effects. So if it is a 151 to 200 ppm, it is a unhealthy, and if it is a 201 to 300, means it is a very unhealthy, and this is the alarming condition for us. So these are the some of common pollutants which we can see here. Particulate matter, ground level ozone, carbon monoxide, nitrogen dioxide, volatile organic compounds. These are the common air pollutants. So there are types of air pollutants depending on origin, depending on their chemical composition, and depending on their state. So first we'll see the types of pollutants according to their origin. So according to their origin, there are two types of pollutants, primary pollutants and secondary pollutants. So primary pollutants are emitted into atmosphere directly from the different sources. So which includes inorganic gases such as SO2, H2S, CO, NH3, CO2 and hydrogen fluoride. The particulate matter such as ash, smoke, dust, fumes, mist, spray. Then in the third case, the olefinic and aromatic hydrocarbon and radioactive compounds. These all are included in the primary pollutants, which are directly excreted in the environment. But the secondary pollutants are derived from primary pollutants due to chemical or photochemical reactions. So these include like SO3, NO2, O3, H2O2, H2SO4, like that gases. So there are types of pollutant according to their chemical composition. So according to chemical composition, there are types: inorganic pollutants and organic pollutants. Inorganic pollutants include nitrogen compounds, sulfur compounds, carbon compounds, halogen compounds, and oxidizing agents such as ozone, inorganic particles such as silica, asbestos, fly ash, and dust. And the organic pollutants includes hydrocarbon, ketones, alcohols. And according to state of matter, the pollutants are divided into 8 types: gaseous pollutants, particulate pollutants, aerosols, metallic components, radioactive components, carcinogens, pesticides, and biological contamination. So as we all know, the ozone layer is the Earth's protective umbrella. So in the picture we can see that in 1984 how was the Earth, and in 1997 how it is. So this magenta color shows that the ozone layer is less, and the ozone hole formation can be predicted from this figure. So ozone is a photochemical product of oxygen formed by solar radiation of short wavelength. O2 plays an important role in tropospores, troposphere, whereas the O3 plays the key role in stratosphere. O3 belt around the Earth is responsible for filtering UV rays, which can act as a shield. In the absence of ozone layer, UV rays will reach the Earth's surface. Consequently, the temperature rise to an extent that biological furnace will turn into a blast. So from this figure we can see that if the UV rays of sun will reach to the earth, it will increase the temperature of the earth, and it can harm the living organism on the earth. So this is the mechanism of ozone formation. The oxygen molecules absorbs the UV radiation less than 242 nanometer and forms the oxygen atom. This oxygen atom in presence of O2 or N2 forms the O3. So this can pictorially we can see this O2 absorbs the UV radiations and forms the oxygen molecules, oxygen atoms. Then oxygen atoms react with O2 to form O3. Again, in the presence of UV radiation, this O3 can absorb the UV radiation to again form the oxygen atoms and O2. So this formed ozone can be reacted with different pollutants in the environment like hydroxyl radical, nitric radical, and fluorine radical, and it may deplete the ozone. Thus, the ozone is constantly created by solar radiation on Earth's atmosphere and eliminated by reaction with atomic oxygen, reactive hydroxyl radicals, and nitric oxide and chlorofluorocarbons. So the mechanism of ozone depletion. In stratosphere, the average thickness of the ozone layer is about 230 Dobson units. The 100 Dobson units means 1 mm thick layer of O3 at 0 degrees Celsius. The ozone layer below the 200 Dobson level is described as the ozone hole. So ozone layer can be depleted by two processes: natural process or anthropogenic or artificial process. So artificial process again includes the 4 types. In natural process, the ozone depletion can happen due to the bonds in ozone are weaker than the molecular oxygen, therefore are broken by lower energy UV radiations. as shown in this image. The oxygen atoms react with another ozone molecule to form two oxygen molecules. The level of ozone in stratosphere stays constant if the rate of ozone formation is equal to the rate of ozone depletion in the environment. And the anthropogenic processes or artificial processes. So first is the hydroxyl radical cycle. So the hydroxyl radical can form by photochemical reaction as shown in this following reactions, that oxygen radical can react with moisture to form hydroxyl radical, or the water vapors react with sunlight to form the hydroxyl radical. These hydroxyl radicals decompose the ozone by different pathways as shown in the following reactions. So second is the nitric oxide cycle. NOx emission in the stratosphere can lead to the destruction of O3. So as shown in this reactions, that NO plus O3 reacts and produces O2 plus hydrox OH. Then this formed NO2 reacts with oxygen to form NO plus O2. So overall, the O3 is get converted into two oxygen molecules. So chlorine radical cycle. The ozone layer found to be destroyed by man-made chlorofluorocarbons and halogens. So this chlorofluorocarbons and halogens absorbs the right UV radiations and forms the free radicals. These free radicals react with ozone and form O2 molecule, and the depletion of ozone happens. Then next is a null and holding cycles. In atmospheric chemistry, a null cycle is a catalytic cycle that simply interconverts chemical species without leading to net production or removal of any component. So we can see in the following reaction that if NO reacts with O3 forms NO2 plus O2, then followed by NO2 reacts with uh, light to form NO and O. So finally in this reaction, O3 is converted into O2 and oxygen atom. So this is without altering any production. And the holding cycle means due to this fluorofluorocarbon and other halogens, the UV rays, it is forming the ozone hole, and because of that the UV rays are reaching to the earth surface. So because of that the many reactions are happening, and the also the earth is heating. So these are the some holding cycles we can predict. So the ozone depletion can cause many harmful effects to human beings, such as the cancer, as you can see in this picture. So this thinning of ozone is first identified in 1985 over Antarctica, which is caused by human-produced bromine and chlorine containing chemicals. And the higher levels of UV radiations, therefore hitting the earth, can cause the eye problem, skin cancer, weakened immunity, and which can disrupt the ecosystem and may damage the crops and forest. So thank you, students. We'll see the remaining part